Hi, my name is Oscar Bond and I've done hair for 46 years. Fell into Hattori Hanzo in a really good way. I'd used shears all my life, didn't really think much about it, had no idea there was any business behind shears. I took on Hattori Hanzo because I needed a job. I think that's what drives most people. I'm definitely the veteran of the group, and at first I was like, this won't last. It just won't last. But I've been there 8 years. So it's worked out really fantastic. We have a fantastic product. It's what we deliver that makes those shears follow through. We are a powerhouse of hair cutting education. We don't follow lines, like you haven't got to buy our color to get our education. It backs up with a pair of shears. And I think now sometimes we do 300-400 classes a weekend. So it really has, it starts off, sometimes in life you might slip and fall, and sometimes you slip, and I slipped into something really good. It's a perfect fit. They give me a great deal of respect for what I am, and they keep me really busy. So it's worked out really good. I come from a very ordinary family. I come from London, England. If you haven't heard, I stutter. I was a really shy kid and I stuttered. I didn't do very well at school. My dad was a bank manager. Unemployment was really high. And my dad said, I don't think, he didn't mean it bad, but he said, I don't think you're very smart. I'd like you to do an apprenticeship. And he told me the apprenticeship, you get to use your hands, you get to leave school a couple of years early, so when you have a trade behind you, and I was 14 years old. So I said, okay, and when you're shy, you kind of say okay to everything. The next day he takes me to the unemployment office where you get your papers, and they had one paper for hairdressing. And I was like, Dad, I can't be a hairdresser. I said, I've never spoken to a girl. And he said, you got a sister. A low-hanging fruit. So that's how I got into it. I had no idea that this apprenticeship was at the very best hairdressing place. I had no clue. So it was a bit of a Willy Wonka gold ticket. I turned up on the first day. I didn't feel very comfortable, but everyone was really nice. And I think when you are shy, the good thing is you just say yes to a lot of things and get on with it. So I got through the first day, I got through the second day, and then all of a sudden I was so fortunate to have people that were growing up around me. They were kind of crazy, but they always got me home. It was the best thing I ever did, and I really believe, I know it sounds bad, but you should start work as early as possible. It keeps you out of trouble, it gets you a skill set. They gave me everything I needed to live for the rest of my life. And all I did was do as I was told. An apprenticeship is such that it's 3 years, you work all day, you do get paid, but you get paid like $30 a week. But every night someone stays behind with you at work, and they are really, the same thing happened with Cole, they're really passionate about making you good. And then when you become a stylist, it's your turn to train someone else. And if we could adopt a system like that here, even partnerships with schools, it'll be good. So I got a fantastic training. I think those Vidal Sassoon days, and it was a good time to be a hairdresser, start a punk rock. People didn't want to look beautiful, they wanted to look kind of interesting, which is really easy. Making people beautiful is a lot more difficult. And there are also strong trends. So every year, like it or not, you had to learn 3, 4, 5, 6 haircuts. You had to, because your clients will come in, they'll show you a picture, I want this, like a little page boy or something. After 5 or 10 years, your repertoire of techniques and haircuts is massive. When you've done it for 20 years, you've got 150 haircuts done. I think nowadays the hard thing about people going through school or leaving school is there aren't strong trends. There's nothing that drives you, you've got to learn this. So I think the foundation of hair has never really changed. It's just been adopted in many different fashions. I think the thing that makes you a successful hairdresser is if this is your chair and anyone sits in it, they must come back. It's not rocket science. If everyone comes back, you'll be super busy. You've got to worry when people don't come back. As an educator, and I'll speak for Cole because I know Cole well as well, if we don't get asked back for a class, it's not a successful class. So it's exactly the same thing, no matter what era, genre you're in. The idea is you leave a really good impression. You don't just make them like you, you make them love you and not forget you, and you've got to be asked back. And if that happens, your career's gonna be great. I think the biggest success, or the best thing I can tell anyone, is you put good people around you and really good things happen. And you kind of have control of it. If you don't put good people around you, so I've been very, very blessed though, so I'm lucky. When I started with Vidal Sassoon, it was at a time where you had to, as an assistant, you were told that you were kind of invisible. Like you never stood in front of a stylist, you never stood in front of a mirror, you never spoke to a client as you were spoken to. You were invisible, which was good for me because I was really kind of shy. Well, one day a lady comes in a wheelchair, and she's a baroness. So they go, Oscar, would you shampoo? And I'm like, sure. I've never shampooed anyone in a wheelchair before, plus it's my first week. So they had like a wash area, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? So I moved the chair away, I put her, she's a lovely lady, I put her back, and I cover her in like 300 towels. And I shampoo her like I'm washing a car. I had no idea that a back of a wheelchair goes back. So I remember being there being like, and stylist comes running back like, what are you doing? This lady's like, I'm okay, like this. And she was, yeah, that was embarrassing. Never did it again. I had no idea that a wheelchair, the back goes back. So I asked her, I said, can you get in a chair? She was like, no, I'm chair bound. I was like, okie dokie, here we go. I had a pyramid of towels around her, like it was like watching one of those whiskey bottle things. The good thing is about, so not at Vidal Sassoon, yes, but every place I've worked with, the people I've worked with, you can always mess up as long as you do it once. That makes sense? So, and I ran a salon with the same thing. If someone did something really ridiculous, if you do it twice, you've really got to think, and they'll come down hard on that. There was lots of rules about you got to be clean shaven, and those things were all good for me because I lacked discipline. So it's good to kind of be told to do things. Makes sense? Like nowadays, everyone's their own little boss, and I think leadership is the one thing that kind of lacks. I think people, they don't want to be like, but they need a direction. And when I was at Vidal Sassoon, it was really directed. So I think things like that really, really helped me. And I'm not sure about Cole, but to me, I thought everyone kind of got that training. I knew I was at a good company, but there was Tony and Guy, there was Jingles, there was all these places. No, Vidal Sassoon was unto itself. They had their own program. So I would say the downside to Vidal Sassoon, and as I've gotten older, it's really important for younger people, is I honestly believe you should try everything and make your own decision. Vidal Sassoon never got into magazine work and editorial. Tony and Guy were doing textured looks, making hair look sexy. We were still If you close your eyes now, I think I can visualize what a Sassoon collection would look like. So I think sometimes when you are an individual, it's really hard to, like, I thrive off people. I thrive off the camaraderie of the salon. I thrive off the good and the bad things. I think working alone is very, very hard. It sounds really good, you've got control of everything, but it's not good for your career. It's hard to change, especially as you get older, but you've got to embrace it. Like, you've got to welcome it, and when you work around younger team members, it really helps.